Hey everybody, this is Chris, and today we are going to introduce to my channel the FT Aviator from FLUIDITY. This is something I've had now for a little while, and I just didn't jump on it. I've seen some of the other reviews, and it's not 100% what I was expecting, so my excitement level wasn't really all that high, and I just kind of put it off and focused on some other things. If you're a subscriber to my channel, you know I've just been putting a ton of how-to repair type stuff for the Hubsan Zeno. So I've put it off, and not only that, I don't like to really jump into something like this, something brand new, any new product. I don't like to just jump right into it. Same goes for firmware updates and that. I kind of like to I treat it like a girlfriend and get to know her a little bit, and take my time. So that's what we've done with this. And first, let's just say that my first excitement with this was just the fact that it was made in America, and that alone is kind of rare in the hobby for quadcopters and accessories for quadcopters. So that's very nice. And then the other thing was that it was actually paired up with DJI. So there was some excitement level there. But before we get into this is just going to be my basic intro and my first initial thoughts on it. That's all we're going to do today. And after that, we'll do some setups, see what works best, how they intend you to use it, if that's how it works best, alternatives like tripods and things like that. And then we'll get into doing flights and try to really put it to its full potential and do real flights. But first, let's just give a little shout out and a little introduction to its creator. The creator is a former NASA astronaut, and his name is Scott Parazynski, is how you say it, Parazynski. And he is underneath his belt as a NASA astronaut. He's got 5 space shuttle flights and 7 spacewalks. So very impressive. And if it's going to come from the US, who better to have created than a NASA astronaut for the quadcopter community? So that's its creator. And the other good thing about it being made in America is so far customer service is primo. I placed the order, and like everybody, I'm anxious. I want to get it. I'm seeing everybody do reviews and everything on it. The first real big channels doing reviews, and I just kind of wanted to get a time frame on it. They instantly answered and gave me an actual date that it would ship, and sure enough, it shipped on that approximate date. And then I got a delivery notice saying attempted delivery, and I didn't say anything about signature required or anything like that. So I just looked further into it, and I saw that I actually put the wrong home address or house number on my street address. So that was my fault, and that was on a Saturday. So I instantly emailed them because there was going to be a second delivery attempt to this house down the street, and I couldn't let them accept it and trust that it was going to get to me because I don't know them. So I emailed them and told them, hey, this is totally my fault. I've got the wrong street address on this, and here's the correct street address. Can you please set this straight with FedEx or was UPS? So sure enough, no, it was FedEx. I'm sorry, that doesn't matter. But sure enough, they jumped right on it. They got that address corrected, and the next delivery attempt, it came right to my house, and here we have it today. So very quick responses for my emails, and I had one final email to them, and it was about the contents of the package. I was a little alarmed when I first got it because it's pretty loud in there. So, I pick it up off my front doorstep, and that's what I'm hearing, and I'm a little concerned. So we open it up. And the first thing you're going to see when you open it up is you're going to have your little quick start guide, and then a thin layer of foam, and then you have the FT Aviator. Nice and snug, well protected, so that's all good. Then you remove this, and everything is just floating around inside the box. So that concerned me. I thought, you know what, I just got a return. Somebody gave me their, they shipped me their somebody else's return. You know, like you're used to finding the cables with ties around them. And I'm not being petty, but when you see something like this, you think, I've got something somebody else just rolled up, threw in the box, returned it, and then Fluidity shipped it to me. So I sent them an email and I just said, hey, I have a concern that I may have a return or used product, and that's not what I paid for. I don't like getting used products. So told them I didn't pay for that. What alarmed me is the way that I found the cable and the contents underneath the actual yoke or stick control, whatever you want to call it. So they quickly responded back and explained exactly how everything should be laid out, and that the cord is just rolled up and no zip ties. I didn't mention anything about how I found the cord. I just told them I didn't like I was concerned with the way I found it. So they explained this is exactly how it's supposed to be. So that concern went away, and I was very impressed with the customer service. So big thumbs up on the customer service. Just outstanding responses, courteous. It's very nice to speak English, or not broken English. So let's go over what we get inside here. You get this quick start guide, and you get the FT Aviator. And we'll of course go further into that. And then we get the smartphone holder that attaches to it. So we'll attach that to the FT Aviator. And then we have next on the list the USB-C cable. It's a C type. And next we have the radio strap. And then last we have the lanyard. So that is how, with everything they have, that is how we're going to use it. Exactly the way they show or they represent it. We're going to use the lanyard to hold our radio or controller, and we'll try the wrist strap out, and of course be attached to our devices with, or our device with this, and put our phone device in here. So let's just kind of put this stuff aside. We don't really need to go any further with a cable, lanyard, and wrist strap, do we? Now, my first initial thoughts on this, and I just want to make it clear that when it comes to packaging, when it comes to the product, I have it in my head, DJI. I'm thinking DJI. So, you know, I'm a little thrown off by the packaging. Again, I'm not being petty. It's no big deal. Everything was fine. It survived its trip to my home. But then when you feel this, you're expecting to kind of feel the feel of this, the weight, the plastic itself. You know, it just doesn't feel like a toy or anything. This doesn't feel like a toy either, but it doesn't feel like DJI-esque. So that's the one thing I just want to say. You got to get DJI out of your head when you're thinking about this accessory. When you compare it, it is an accessory made by a third party to be paired with the DJI equipment. But that being said, I am not totally impressed with this at all. So you know, my final thoughts, I can tell you, just predicting from what I've seen from others and just holding it and everything, I am not going to put this really high on a pedestal. I have absolutely no interest in this company. I have no connection. This is completely unbiased. I have not spoken to Scott. I have not been on a live show with him. I have not emailed with him. I have not been sent this for free. I purchased it. So, you know, I have no ties there whatsoever. This is completely unbiased. But it's not going to rate real high in the end. I can tell you just by what I've seen and what I'm feeling here in this control. Let's just first go to this movement right here. I don't know if you can hear it. It snaps. It's not smooth at all. And I actually feel like I should be hooked up to my, back in the 80s, flashback, I feel like I should be hooked up to my computer playing with my flight simulator. That's exactly what this feels like, and I still own that. I should dig it out for my next video and put them side by side comparison from my controller from the 80s with this product here. But it's just very snappy. It's got a creak to it. I mean, it feels like I'm 50 years old and my joints are getting old. It feels like my joints. It feels like my knees grinding. So this isn't something I would really expect. The yaw movement feels pretty good. It's a very short track and doesn't leave you much for I think a subtle movement, and I do see a lot of jerking and launching in the reviews, so I can see why and where that's happening just because of this. You can't, you know, like I feel like I'm falling into a notch. So like I move it slow and I feel like I fall into a notch, and maybe that will change my flight a little more than I wanted. So that I'm not real crazy about. The big thing that I really just do not like is this finger and thumb control. It is very snappy. I mean, listen. It pops and snaps. Like it doesn't move smooth at all. Like it hits it's grinding together is what it is as it moves. And there's no buffer there. There's nothing absorbing it, the movement. It's just grinding together is what it feels like. And you get that snap, and again, you're going to get that different acceleration from it and deceleration, I think, out of that. So I'm not real crazy about the controls of it from my very first impression, just looking at it. I have not flown this, but just that right there, I'm not real crazy about. As for all the other controls, they're just normal buttons, and you got your scroll wheel and stuff, and we'll go over all those. They're all well explained right here, but on the front you have your camera tilt right there. And then on this side, this is a programmable function. I've got everybody and their brother messaging me, so let's mute that. Sorry. And my phone keeps going off. I should just, whenever I'm shooting videos, I should give a shout out to whoever messages me first on Facebook or from my YouTube channel. So this shout out goes to Jackie Akers. I had a lovely conversation with you, messaging with you. Thank you very much for your kind words, and this shout out goes to you, Jackie. You're a wonderful person. But let's get back to the Aviator. You have this programmable switch here on the side, and it's a multi-function, so you can program it to do different things. And then your battery indicator is right there, and your takeoff and land buttons are here, and your power button is right there, and then you have your video and your picture. So that's your shutter and then your video, and I think we got it all. The scroll wheel itself is your camera control rotary. That feels a bit cheapish. It's like it's grinding or rubbing. It's notched and supposed to kind of click in place, but it just kind of feels low grade. I'm not so sure what the thumb top piece here, and they don't really explain it. I'm not so sure as to what all it's supposed to do, because to me I feel like it's holding me up. Like my thumb, I feel like needs to move. So, and not only that, it doesn't even stay in place. It snaps out if you slightly lift. So I think with that, I will always keep it loose and just push, pull, push, pull. If you're somebody that has real bad arthritis and this is hard for you to push, I don't think this is going to be good unless it fully locks. It doesn't fully lock, but it won't pop out. So, you can, say your disability is your fingers, you can control it with just your thumb. It's not going to be really good and fluid at all, but you can. It's got a fairly nice grip to it. Your hands start getting sweaty and clammy outside. They're not going to slip. They just grip very well to it. So that's pretty much all I can really say initially. And again, I haven't flown it or anything like that. This is just my initial thoughts on it. Oh, and you have your speeds here, turtle to rabbit. It's 5 different speeds. So we'll be starting out on turtle, or maybe 2, and play it that way. And I think I said these backwards. Your front one is your shutter. I wasn't looking when I did it. That's your shutter, that's your camera. Not really important. But looking back at some of the other reviews, I think for the most part all of them are pretty fair. Some might be a little biased. There were people that were in their live shows with the creator, had them on the show. There was some that get it just for review purposes only, but overall I think a majority of people were fair. There was a good bit of bloopers and mistakes out there. Houston, we have a problem. Sorry, Bill, I had to say that, but yours came to mind my very first thought. I'm not picking on you. I was a little worried that you were going to lose your quad there, but there were a few little mishaps and mistakes along the way in some of these reviews. Some I kind of feel like maybe, although I'm not giving it praises, I'm not really putting it down, and I don't think I'm being too critical, but I think some people were being just a little too critical with it and maybe trying to prove a point too hard and being negative. And I'll say who that one was, because I really didn't, I could not watch the whole video just because I felt like, no, I don't really think he's being 100% honest with this. And that was, I think you pronounce his last name Heron, Bill Heron. He tries to be a little too comical and quirky in his videos, and joking, and these cinematic or whatever, his little flash twos and things like that. Just a little too, tries to be a little too cute and funny instead of just getting to the point. Let's review this product. I do like a good laugh. Believe it or not, but I'd rather just kind of get to the point and not sit there with have a sidekick and do these quick little camera flashes and things like that, talking to the dogs as they walk by. I just felt like he was almost purposely trying to make this look bad when he was flying his Phantom. So I don't know. We'll see when I fly it with the Mavics how I do, and maybe I'll take back my words. But he's one of the only ones that I felt was just maybe going a little bit out of his way to kind of make it look a little worse than it is. And I can't at this point say it's bad at all. All I can do is I can say it's just not the quality I expected it to be. That's all. That's all I can say. So, and I wrote down a few things here and just the pros and cons. Now, we'll go over the cons and we'll end it with the pros. But the cons are having to connect it with the controller. So you've got your controller. And in this case, Mavics are small controllers, so we're a little better off. But if you got a Phantom, you got that big old controller. Sorry if you can hear all that construction out there. But we've got the clip here. Let's put that on. Just snaps in place like that. Notice I didn't go nuts with that. If you watch, going back to Bill's review, Bill Huron, or however you say it, that's one of the examples I want to give you. When he was putting this on, he was going out of his way to be like, and it was just a little too dramatic for me. I don't think it was, I don't think it's all that hard to snap this in place. I mean, it's got a pull tab right here, and you just pull it up. It's tight, but I don't need to sit there and go like this. So I don't know, maybe if you start on that side and snap it up this way, if it's any easier. But we don't want our controller falling off. I don't know, Bill, maybe it is hard. First time it went on nice. There. That's the way we should do it. So yeah, it is hard to put on, but I don't think it needed all that drama. So we'll do it again. Put it on, and I'm just going to take my palm and go like this. There, it's on. No drama. See? Very simple. So you put that on, and then you can adjust the angle, put your device in there, and so forth. So that's one of the cons. It's just that you have to have so much stuff hooked up and with you on the field. Now you go from taking your simple little setup out on the field and flying to taking this, all the contents that come with it, perhaps a tripod, perhaps a little tabletop to set it on. For the average people, that I would think is not as appealing. So that to me is a con. So having to connect it to everything and portability, and then setup time. Not that I'm in a race when I get out there, but you've got extra things to do now instead of just connecting these two together. That's the way I would love to see it. And the other con is it's just a first generation. So those of you who are going to wait, which I would recommend you wait and see where this thing goes. And I've got a couple ideas, just talking to other people, what I think and I agree with where it'll go. But the other thing is the fact that it's paired with DJI is they've got to keep up on the firmware. If DJI, if that relationship, if they break up, if DJI is upset with them, if there's some sort of issue there and the two of them break up, DJI could easily do a firmware fix to where this doesn't work with the DJI product. So then you've got a dead accessory here, and it's going to be looking for a new home because DJI's gone and blocked it. So that, I mean, not saying that's going to happen, but that can actually happen. They could do a firmware update on this that's going to completely mess this up, and then we got to wait for them to come along Fluidity to come along and give us a firmware update to make it work with that. And that's where I'm going to talk about, where this goes. Being a, its relationship with DJI. I want to bring up one person's name here, just because he's very real in the way he thinks, and he kind of looks at where this could go, and that's where I'm interested, and that's how I think as well. And that's Brian Singleton. If you don't watch his channel, you really should go to his channel. He does a ton of reviews. I'll add his link in the bottom of this one as well. I highly recommend his channel. Brian is very real in his way of thinking about, why was this created? How far is it going to go? Is Fluidity going to stay in control of this? Are they going to be the ones that bring out the second generation, or was it solely created with the hopes that DJI will pick it up and make it their own? I hope it goes that way. We're going to pay DJI prices, but if DJI gets a hold of this, or makes their own, it's just going to be this. I would expect it to just be this with your phone device, not needing your controller, not being directly from DJI. That's why we don't have it as just these two pieces. So the way Brian had talked about it was that he said he thinks that they totally made this, meaning Fluidity, that they totally made this maybe not to go any further, but to have DJI pick it up. And I tend to agree with that. I really don't know that Fluidity is going to own this long enough to make a second generation. Maybe they'll sell all the rights to DJI, and then DJI will have it, and that'll be that. So that's actually where I hope it goes. So with that being said, and mentioning Brian, I hope you are watching, because I would like to, once I'm completely done with this, and I'm sorry I told you, it's like a girlfriend, I would like to take my time with her. I don't have a girlfriend, I'm married. But Brian, when I'm done with this, I would like to offer it to you, loan it out to you, and let you take it and fly it yourself and see what you think, because I know you're very critical on it, as I am, and your expectations and all that, you pretty much already know, as I did from seeing other people and talking to other people who have it. But I would like to offer it to you, Brian, as a loaner, for you to try it on your channel and see how you do with it as well. And you could probably do it more justice than I can. But that's going to have to be, if you take me up on that offer, that's going to have to be after I'm done doing the rest of my videos, which I'm going to try to do fairly quickly. As quick as I can, but like I said, I like to take time and not rush into anything. I don't want to give all this false information. So that is really my only cons. My only other thing that I would say is that they didn't push this enough for people with physical challenges. I think that should be the highest priority in marketing for this, is people with physical challenges. So with that, I had to write his name down. I'm not going to say his last name just in case. I will share his video. There's a gentleman named Freddie. Freddie doesn't have the full use, or maybe not any use, of his left arm, just his right arm. Freddie is in a wheelchair with this. He has it strapped to his wheelchair with a Velcro strap. And now he is able to fly his, I think he had a Mavic. He is now able to fly his Mavic so much easier, because before, and I don't know how he was doing it, before he was doing it with one hand on this controller. So this right here is where this thing shoots way up to the top and gets high praises, because man, if you can help somebody that's been, that's got some physical challenges, that now can fly and do things they weren't able to do so well with this controller, that they can now do with this controller and use with the right hand or the left hand. You can put this on either side, so it's a lefty or a righty, it doesn't matter. This is where this thing gets full pros, from me. I will praise it for that, because introducing the hobby to people with physical challenges or helping people with physical challenges that are currently in the hobby, that is a great thing. And I do not think that has been stressed enough in the selling of this product. I think that they really should market it more towards them and not us. That's what I think is most important. That's what grabs me about this. And that's really about all my pros I have for it right now, because I haven't used it. My other pro would be price. It's not DJI prices. The price wasn't too bad, and I just paid, I forgot what I paid now, $200? I don't know. The price right now I think is on sale. There's a discount for it, a discount code for it. But I'll put their link in the bottom of this video. I'm going to put Brian Singleton's link in the bottom of this video for his channel. He's mentioned me and stuff before, and I just want to make sure I give him some props, and also offer this out to him to borrow. And I'm going to have everything I've mentioned in this video, I'm going to put the links to in the description. So look for those, check those out, and look for more content on this. We're going to, like I said, do some setups and see how it works best with me, and try to give it some really good flights with these two babies right here. So that's pretty much it. I am sure that I skipped some things, missed some stuff. The guide, you can go in and scan for the app. You need to do that. But once you get this and you look at this guide, it all becomes pretty easy to understand. And then if you want future information, go to www.fluidity.tech/app setup, and that will give you more information on the app itself. And if you just go to fluidity.com, you can look more on the more in-depth stuff for the yoke itself. I call it a yoke. Some people call it a joystick. Some people just call it a controller. To me, it's like a yoke in an airplane, I guess. So that's what I called it when I used to play my video games. So thank everybody. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope this didn't drag out too long. I don't know how. Yeah, we've gone a while, and I'll try to edit it down a little bit. But thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and look forward to the rest of this to come, and hit that thumbs up on your way out. Take care.